Hey everyone, Michael here. Hope you guys are all having a great day today. Today what I'm going to be doing is breaking down the dollar index for you so you guys have an understanding of where the market's going to be going in the future. This has been a great way to figure out when to buy and when to sell most assets on the stock exchange and even cryptocurrencies. And if you guys like the Forex markets as well, okay? You guys may see Loki down here, although I'm not entirely sure if you can see him here. Oh, yeah, he'll be down here. So if you hear clicking and clacking, that's going to be Loki, okay? Now, the first thing you guys are going to notice about the dollar index right here is that we have a pretty nice uptrend going on. We've only broke it once right here and twice right there. Other than that, it's been on a tear. And the reason that this all started right here was because we noticed that inflation started to go back up. If you guys know anything about last year, you guys know it was a lot of inflation, a lot of bad times for Americans, a lot of layoffs, and just a lot of bad stuff was happening, right? However, since, the beginning of the year, inflation's been going down steadily, bit by bit by bit, until July happened. When July happened, we had a reversal because inflation ticked up for the first time in, I think, like 6-7 months. It was a pretty good downtrend until all of a sudden we got sticky. And the reason this is important in the totality of everything is, if you guys have been listening to the Federal Reserve, they've been saying something to the effect of this. Hey, we expect pain in the economy. We expect that if we are given the choice between keeping the economy afloat and dealing with inflation, we are going to choose to fight inflation over keeping the economy stable, which means they'd rather have a recession if that means lowering inflation if they're put in that situation, okay? And therefore, we saw the dollar index go up until, I guess, just a few days ago. And this is where, technical analysis is going to have its different points, and I'll kind of point out what was going on beforehand, and then I'll talk about what's happening now that there's a war in Israel, and there's some tit for tat going on, and we'll kind of explain that a little bit more about what that means, because America may have a different interest in Israel, and we may exert our influence over Israel to not invade Gaza. But we'll talk about that here in a second, okay? So, over the last few months, it's been kind of nice because we've been having some really nice signals to tell us when to buy, when to sell. And of course, as the dollar index goes up, this is usually an opportunity for you to scale out or just flat out short some positions on the open market, okay? Bitcoin reached its high in July. We saw like Nvidia, Tesla, a lot of them reached local highs in July, and they've been going downwards ever since in a pretty, not dramatic way, but just, going down bit by bit here, okay? Now, depending on if you guys like the stochastic indicators or the MACDs, these crossovers are usually very important because they help us understand what's going on, and they kind of filter out a lot of the noise that we get from wars, war in Europe, war in the Middle East, and just some shocks that we get every few decades, like speakerships going to hell and all that type of stuff going on with the Republicans right now. But crossover here, crossover there. If you guys would have shorted or just went long on the dollar index, this could be long dollar versus the euro or something like that, you guys are making some really good money. But what's happened since then? We've had a couple golden crosses, and those have turned out pretty nice. But we broke down right here, and without the war, we should be down a little bit lower, closer to the 105 mark. Instead, we're kind of close to 106. I know it doesn't seem like that big of a difference, but it is. And so what we're seeing now is a slowing down of the momentum, which is going to most likely bring us back down here. The only way we see the dollar index break out here, you can almost imagine a trend line right there going downwards. The only way we break out of that is if Israel invades Gaza, and, caveat here, we see Jordan, Egypt, and Iran, and maybe other players start to do a little bit of tit for tat with Israel on top of that. The most likely players, I guess, are Hezbollah up in Lebanon, and Iran. Everyone else may just kind of sit back and watch. But if the conflict does escalate, this is where you're going to see that big spike. As we see that big spike, rates will go up even higher, and people will spend even less money. And at this point, guys, I know it doesn't seem like it, but people are spending a lot of money. The economy is relatively safe. We're not seeing any massive drop-off so far. Even the retail sales that came out today were hotter than expected, leading to another rate hike that's most likely going to be coming over the next few days, okay? Or excuse me, weeks. Now, as long as everything stays the same and we don't have a conflict escalation, I would say, you're going to continue to see the dollar index start to come back down here. You're going to start to see this death cross between the 20-day moving average and the 50, and it most likely will come back down here towards $104. You guys can kind of see this old trading range right here. We have a level of support. That's what we're really looking for to come back towards, all right? So during that time, this is going to be an okay opportunity to accumulate some positions that you guys may like. I know there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, so you guys definitely want to be trading breakouts along with the dollar index coming back down, because as you guys see, a lot of volatility right here. It still wasn't enough to break back above that high. Only when that breakout happens can you be pretty sad about what's going to happen to the overall market. And again, this is all up here towards $107. We're not there yet. It's going to take some time and a lot of bad news to get back up here, okay? But as the dollar index continues to move downwards, you guys can be pretty confident that the overall market is going to keep up. This is a crazy time when it comes to earnings. Tesla earnings comes out pretty soon. The bank's earnings came out and the banks are being demolished. I think Bank of America has a paper loss, not a realized loss, but a paper loss on their bonds of about $136 billion, okay? So, and that's because of how high rates and everything have been getting. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way the system is kind of designed to work, right? But everything is pointing towards a weaker dollar for the next few weeks, if not, yeah, let's just say about a month or so, okay? So this is the time where you guys could start to accumulate and hope for some larger moves on the upside, especially since the market has seen some shocks when it comes to Israel and this Ukraine conflict as well, okay? So I'd be accumulating and trading things that are breaking out and making sure that the MACDs are also crossing the right way. So this is going to be the opposite of whatever you guys are looking for right now. So if you guys are looking at Tesla, which is maybe a little bit more of a triangle pattern, or Microsoft or Nvidia, even though Nvidia had shocking news today, we'll probably talk about that another time. But as you guys are looking for that type of stuff, you guys want to see the MACDs and the stochastic oscillators going the other way here and having bullish crossovers matching up with this downtrend, and that's how you guys are going to make some quick money. I would not recommend holding anything as far as options or things like that for the next few weeks, like holding them for more than a few weeks, unless you guys are planning them out a while ago, or you guys maybe actually bought them up, bought puts or calls a few weeks ago, then in which case you're kind of fine at this point. You're just kind of waiting and seeing what's happening. But as this goes down, a lot of stocks that have been going down over the past few weeks, those are going to be your opportunities to load up on them. I would just avoid the semiconductor space right now, like AMD and Nvidia. They had some shocking news that the Biden administration is going to be blocking them from selling certain chips to China, and those chips make them a lot of money, so they're going to lose out on a lot of profit. But I hope you guys all have a great rest of your night or day, whatever time you guys are watching it. Just be careful. This is eventually going to break back out, most likely, with some shocks incoming, whether it's like, politics on Capitol Hill and all the crazy stuff, debt ceiling stuff over there, keeping the government funding, or just the war in Gaza. So until we have one of those shocks, you guys can expect this to continue coming down more and more and more. You might see some support maybe around 105.50 or something over here. But in the long term here, or the medium term, I should say, expect this to keep on coming back down. Thanks, everybody.